Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and it's that time of the week again. Time for me to give you guys a quick update on how my last week of training went. Of course, as you guys know, I'm still doing the TrainerRoad indoor cycling program, and this video here is going to cover from January 16th through yesterday, which was January 22nd, and I had a good week. I want to just kind of give you guys a little background. Now, I actually, after my rest day, coming into week 4, I just finished up week number 4. Coming into the week, I finished up week 3 at my FTP set at 272, and I was going to start out week number 4 there. And tell you what, coming into the week after my rest day, I felt really good. I felt motivated, felt rested. Felt, like I could, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to go up by a few points. So I actually started the week out here in week number 4 with my FTP up to 274. So I started out the week at 274, and let's see, the first ride of the week this week was TrainerRoad's Huffacre, which is a VO2 max interval workout. I did do a 30-minute warm-up before doing the intervals. As you can see here, basically you're doing, the workout text says that it's 2 3-interval segments. I actually look at it as 3, because if you look at those 3 at the very beginning there, those are pretty good. That's a pretty tough little segment too. So I mean, pretty much 3, interval segments where you're going up considerably above FTP. And then, as you see, you kind of do like a little staircase. You kind of start out, over threshold, and a little bit higher next time around. Then you get a pretty decent recovery there. And then do it again, but you do it in the opposite way. So you're kind of ending the workout, so to speak. You're ending the workout at a little bit less. At a little bit less power. This was a tough workout. Not excruciating, but it was tough. I did roughly just under 30 miles, give or take, if I was riding outside. So that's how Monday went. That's how my first day of the week went. Good day. Felt good. I felt really good during this workout. Didn't have any problems meeting power objectives or anything. And then the next day, of course, was more of an endurance pace ride. Did TrainerRoad Spruce Knob. I did do a 30-minute warm-up before that, before the ride, and of course, this here is it's an endurance ride, but it's more or less a sweet spot ride, really, because you're doing 2 30-minute intervals at 85% FTP, which 85% FTP for an hour isn't easy. I mean, it's not hard. I wouldn't categorize this as a hard ride. But it wasn't easy either. It's kind of like you're working at the front of a pace line kind of a deal. Like you're working, but you're not really cooking it. But again, did about 40 miles, give or take, if I was riding outside. Good workout. Felt really good here too. Again, my FTP I think was still at 274 here. And then going into Darwin the next day. Going into Darwin, I actually bumped it up to, no, I think I was still at 274 here, guys. But I did TrainerRoad's Darwin. This is a tough workout. 4 by 10-minute intervals at 95 to 99% FTP. I did a half-hour warm-up before the ride. So I would have went roughly 30 miles, or about 30 miles roughly at this kind of power output. But, yeah, tough workout. These 4x10s are tough, And this is why I love TrainerRoad so much, guys, is because I really can't remember in my outdoor training in the last couple of years, like, working this hard for this long in my rides. And I think this is really where you make those performance gains, is when you're, doing, basically 40 minutes of almost max effort work, that's tough, and and these recoveries are pretty short, it's not like you're doing an interval and then getting, 20 minutes off. I mean, the intervals, the recovery intervals are sufficient, They're sufficient to get you where you need to be to hit the next interval, but very challenging workout. This Darwin is a very challenging workout, but I really enjoyed it. Love pushing. I love pushing myself. And of course, I did have to, I wanted to share this with you guys too. I had to kind of alter my schedule a little bit this week with the workouts. Like you guys know, I did a video a couple weeks ago where I was talking to you guys about how I had to do one of these TrainerRoad, high intensity, real hard interval workouts in the morning before going into work. And that just does not work for me. I can't come into those hard rides fasted, after sleeping all night, not eating, and then coming into the morning. When I'm not a very big morning person, and to get up and to within an hour of being up, having to do big work on the bike and not having eaten very much leading into that just doesn't work for me. I got to have fuel on board. So I had to adjust my schedule a little bit because I had to work a couple of afternoon shifts this week, and so I had to do some workouts in the morning. And what I was doing was basically for those workouts in the morning is I was basically taking a workout. I was taking the TR workout that was less intensity. So I did a little bit of moving around. See, I wasn't really scheduled to do Tenya at this point on the ride, but because I had to work, the next morning, okay, I wanted to get this really hard workout out of the way, this long workout out of the way. And plus I was off that day. It was kind of like my days off got switched around, so I was thinking I'm going to do the 3 hour and the long 3.5, 4 hour ride. I'm going to get that out of the way on a day that I'm off, where I can kind of control my day a little bit better. And so I did Tenya, which is supposed to end the week. I did this a few days bumped up, but pretty much did basically a 4 hour ride here. The actual Tenya ride itself, just a long endurance ride, is 3 hours and 15 minutes. I did a 35-minute warm-up before the ride, so it put me at 3:50 on the bike, almost 4 hours of continuous non-stop pedaling. And I went roughly 74 miles, roughly. Again, I just do a rough average to, the power output I did on the bike, how that would translate, when I go outside riding. I kind of do a rough estimate, so I would have been roughly around 74 miles on this ride if I was outside. Very tough workout because you're not stopping. And that's what's so great about these long endurance rides on TrainerRoad is that when you go out and you pedal on the trainer for basically 4 hours and never stop once, that basically is like riding like 6 hours outside because you're never recovering, you're never coasting. You're never going downhill. There's a lot of, think about over the course of a 5-6 hour ride, how many times you're coasting or going down a little grade, or there is none of that in the trainer. So when you're doing a long endurance ride in the trainer, you're basically getting a lot more quality work in less time, honestly. So I did the long endurance ride a few days up, and then the next day, again, I had to work in the afternoon, so I wanted to do another. I wanted to get the Pettit. Pettit was up this week. I wanted to knock that one out in the morning before going into work. After that, so I did basically just an hour and 10 on the bike, a 10-minute warm-up. Pettit is only an hour of endurance riding. Not a hard ride at all, but just getting the miles in, getting the legs tuned up. And then I ended off my week on Saturday. I ended off my week with TrainerRoad's LeConte. And guys, I know I've talked to you on a few other vlogs telling you about how this was my particular most difficult workout so far. Well, this was so far the most difficult workout I've had on TrainerRoad. I did an FTP bump before this ride, went from 274 to 276 for my FTP, and I got through it. I got through all the intervals, didn't have to backpedal, didn't have to, let off the gas any. But I tell you what, that last interval, that 6th interval, was very, 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 very difficult. I mean, this is a tough workout. I mean, LeConte is basically 6 10-minute intervals, okay? It's broken into 3 stages of 2 with, 5-minute recoveries in between. And you only get 1 minute of recovery in between these intervals. As you see here, the small breaks, that's only a minute. So you're getting 1 minute of recovery in between 20 minutes of FTP crisscrosses, where you're basically going up and below, above and below FTP for 20 minutes with a 1 minute recovery in between. This is an excruciating workout. Very, very challenging workout, especially now that my FTP is like maxed, or it's like I'm like, every time I bump up, like I have to push myself harder than I've ever pushed before to get through. And that's where I was on this ride. Basically, I don't think I've ever pushed this hard in the bike, other than a race, other than a race scenario, but in training, absolutely not. I've never pushed this hard in the bike before. I did a 12. I kept my warm-up light here today. The ride is an hour and a half, but I only did a 12-minute warm-up because I knew how serious these intervals were going to be, and I wanted to have every last ounce of energy on board for the ride. So I did a 12-minute warm-up just to kind of get my legs warmed up, get my body warmed up. Then I hit the intervals hard, and I did it at 276 FTP, and it was tough. Got through, and of course yesterday was my rest day, so I took yesterday off. Now today I'm starting week number 5 for this sweet spot base high volume round 2. Starting week number 5, and I actually did bump up my FTP again after completing this workout. After getting through LeConte at 276, I have bumped up to 277. So I'm going to be going into week number 5 at 277. And my totals for the week, had a good week, really solid week. I had just under 12 hours on the bike this week, 11 hours, 42 minutes. Did roughly 230 miles of outdoor riding. Again, that's not an exact number, just a rough estimate based off how hard I go on each ride and what I think I would have did outside equivalent. But roughly 230, and just under 12 hours. So another solid week of training. And like I said, starting week number 5 here on TrainerRoad. Sweet spot base high volume. I'm going to start this week at 277 FTP. And I know I've been doing a little quick equation for you guys here every week lately, kind of showing you where I'm at, watts per kilo range. My weight is still being consistent. I actually weighed in this morning at 125.5 pounds. But I'm still weighing in anywhere from, 123.5 to 126. I kind of fluctuate every day by a little bit. I'm sure you guys all do also. Nobody's weight is completely spot on every day. At least I can't do that. But I am in that same 125 ballpark. So basically dividing 277 FTP into 56.75 kilograms, which is what I weigh. I'm right at, that puts me at about 4.88. I'm flirting with that 4.9 watts per kilo range. I'm going to just keep doing the things I've been doing, guys. I'm going to continue to try to bump up when I get through those excruciating workouts like LeConte. The way I look at it is, if I can get through those intervals and not have to take time off, not have to backpedal, not have to, take it easy during those intervals, if I can get through them at that given FTP, I feel like I can bump up a point or two and just kind of keep slowly bumping boundaries. I like to push myself, and I'm trying to push myself as hard as possible. And this is how I'm going to do it, as opposed to like doing the interval, like doing the plan at one level and then retesting my FTP. You know what? I don't think I'm going to test FTP for a while, because I know for a fact that I'm pushing myself about as hard as I possibly can push myself with my FTP. I mean, my FTP is very close to being spot on, because I'm having to really dig deep to get through these rides. So, but that's where I'm at, guys. Training is still going well. Hopefully, week number 5 goes well. I got one more hard week here, and then I go into a recovery week or a rest week where the intensity will scale back and the volume will scale back for a week, and then I might hit a build plan after that. So, but I wanted to give you guys a quick update here on how things are going for my training. Things are still going well. I'm making progressions slowly but surely. I hope you guys are having a good off season, getting in some good training. Leave me some comments down below. Let me know what you guys are doing here for training. How's your winter been going? What are you doing for training? How are you progressing? Let me know. I'm interested to hear how you guys are doing in your training, and we can all share tips. Give each other advice and tips. And again, guys, I appreciate all the support in the channel. I really didn't think the channel would progress as quickly as it has been. So I appreciate that. I appreciate all the thumbs up and all the videos. I like bringing you guys these kind of videos. I like giving you guys updates on my training. I hope you find these informative. Hope you find these, fun to listen to. I'm hoping to make, help in any way I can. But again, guys, I appreciate all the support on the channel. I'll look forward to seeing you back here next week in next week's update video. Until then, ride safe out there and push boundaries. Get out there and ride hard.